Alright, and welcome to the next video of my series on how to design a horror game or conceptualize a horror game, the follow-up to my Horror 101 series. This is Ryan Acid Heads Murphy's talking, and let's get into it. So, this video is about the adrenaline rush. The last video was about creeping people out. This one is about freaking them out and making their heart pump a bit. So what do we do to really make people get that rush of adrenaline? That some people, that's what they really want when it comes to a horror game, is that adrenaline rush. Well, going back to some of the randomness stuff I talked about, we can, use options, different settings in the options to give people a customizable game. If people are wanting more of a survival horror adrenaline rush, they can set it to that setting, and the ghosts will be there more often, and they won't be able to do anything to the ghost except run away and hide from them. And you have your adrenaline rush game, a survival horror adrenaline rush. Okay? And you can still have all the creepy stuff going on. It's just that you fine-tune the game more to your taste if you're the adrenaline rush junkie. And if you prefer a little bit of a creep out and then lots of running and hiding, then you can fine tune it to that. If you prefer long creep outs and then some running and hiding, you can fine tune it to get more or less that. That's why I wanted to have those kinds of settings, because it allows you to have more of a game that's tailored to you, the player. And just to bring this up again, potentially backer. Kickstarter exists. We could actually make this game together. It's possible. So, really, the game, as I have it in my head right now, would be a little bit of survival horror, because these are ghosts. They're not monsters. You can't fight against ghosts. They're not material beings. But you would be able to get away from them, and the default setting is they're not going to pursue you very much. They're not really going to chase after you or anything. They just don't want you in their space while they're there. So they'll summon up energy, manifest, and then come after you until you leave their little sphere of influence, and then they'll dissipate and go on their way, and then you might go back. They might still be there. They probably won't be. You don't know for sure. But you can deal with them by finding the artifact that they're attached to, or the location in the house that they are specifically anchored to, and finding a way to appease their pain. So this would be another dynamic to the game, which is every backstory would include clues that you would have to uncover through playing the game, that would allow you to uncover what their artifact is, and or anchor point in the mansion, and how you can appease their pain or exorcise them or something. Okay, or that would be kind of the default. If you want more of an action game, you could you could have that element in there, but it's a bit easier and there's lots more ghosts in play. The default would be fewer ghosts and much harder to get rid of them. An action game setting would be lots of ghosts, easier to get rid of them. And the survival horror would be few ghosts and you can't get rid of them at all. Except for the bosses, you'd always have to be able to get rid of bosses. And I'm not, there don't have to be actual bosses that you have to beat to win the game or anything like that. When I say boss ghosts, I just mean ones that are powerful and have some greater degree of control over their environment and other entities and stuff. Kind of like the Preacher in the Poltergeist movies, that sort of thing. Although I suppose in the context of that, he was a boss that you had to defeat to win the game. Or movie, if you will. So, just different ideas kicking around there. Yeah. So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to cover about the adrenaline rush aspect because it's pretty obvious how you kick off that part of the, you know, of a horror, survival horror game. Jump scares. You know, but I've already talked about stuff that would make it more of an adrenaline rush. You know, you actually have the game to where the players can get hurt over time. They get bruised up, they can fall downstairs, and, you know, they can have a heart attack if they get too freaked out. Uh, you know, different things like that. So, you know, that's really the way that I would create that adrenaline rush is sometimes all you can really do is just get away from the ghost before it can do anything to you, or, you know, when one pops out of nowhere, you could get hurt or even killed by it. So being around or in the vicinity of an active ghost will have consequences, always. You know, it wouldn't be like Outlast where all you have to do is just run and hide. There's no consequences unless you get caught. You know, that was one of the things Amnesia had going for it, was that just being in the vicinity of one of the monsters and looking at them hurts you. In this case, looking at the ghosts, I wouldn't say would hurt you, but being around them and, you know, constantly being scared is going to take a toll. So staying in an area where you know there's a ghost and allowing it to continue to scare you or attack you or whatever is going to affect you over time and is going to have consequences. So that's how I would create that adrenaline rush, is by creating these consequences that you cannot escape. You know, there's always going to be potentially bad consequences by interacting with the paranormal for extended periods of time in this game. It's conceptualized right now. So I think that covers that topic pretty well. I'll do my usual YouTube video stuff. Give me that upvote, it's always appreciated. Remember to share the video with friends, families, colleagues, social websites, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, whatever, Pinterest, websites like blogs and forums and stuff that you go to that you think might be interested in this sort of thing. Subscribe so you know when I put up new videos. I think that covers everything. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.